It's Tigers versus Hogs. Again, what do we expect this time? It's Locked on LSU. Here we go.
You are Locked on LSU, your daily podcast on the LSU Tigers. Part of the Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day.
Okay, let's get it. It is Locked on LSU, your team every day. I'm your host, Matt Moscona. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. We are free, available wherever you get podcasts, of course, on YouTube as well. So please subscribe. As always, one of the fastest ways to help us grow is by leaving your comments below. So thank you for that. Today's episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. So LSU beats UCLA in a restart of the game from Monday, 9-5. We went through what happened, biggest takeaways. You can catch that in our previous episode on YouTube or podcast, however you're listening or watching. And the Tigers, after polishing off that win shortly after noon Central Time on Tuesday, got to kick back, relax the remainder of the day, and wait to see who their opponent would be. And it ended up being Arkansas, as the Razorbacks dispatched of UCLA 7-3 to eliminate the Bruins. And now it'll be LSU and Arkansas for the fifth time this season and for the second time already in Omaha. And if we're being completely honest, this felt like an inevitability all along. Not only are LSU and Arkansas two great teams, but when the brackets were announced and you saw the way this was playing out, and both LSU and Arkansas were the highest remaining seeds in the tournament, both on the same side of the bracket, LSU and Arkansas were going to battle it out. It was just going to be a matter of in what position, who was in the driver's seat and who was coming out of the loser's bracket. And as we've seen, LSU has had the good fortune of starting 2-0, and so they are in the catbird seat. The onus now is on Arkansas to find a way to beat LSU twice. They'll have to do it both Wednesday and Thursday to advance to the championship series. LSU needs just one win to punch their ticket to the championship series Saturday, Sunday, Monday, in what is a best 2 out of 3. Now, LSU got here in large part because of the role of Kason Evans. And after LSU beat UCLA 9-5, Kason Evans was asked when he found out he was going to be getting the ball. This answer gives you a great glimpse into Jay Johnson's mentality.
Yeah, Coach Johnson had told me that once we got out of the delay that I would be on the mound, and then it got rolled over to today. So, I mean, just went back to the hotel and got ready for today, woke up early, and I mean, the mindset stays the same no matter when I come in the game, if I start or if I close. So I was just going out there and doing my best to help my team win.
Jay Johnson told Kason Evans as soon as the delay happened on Monday night, when it resumed, he was going in. We talked about it a lot. Would they go to Evans, which was certainly my pick. We talked about it plenty. It felt like the most obvious choice. You had to win game 2. But would they go a different route? Would they try to save Evans? Could they bring Ianson back? All these conversations, Jay Johnson told Kason Evans, as soon as the game was paused, you're going in as soon as it resumes, and he didn't waver off of that going into Tuesday. So the thing that stinks, clearly, is that had you not had a delay and Ianson gotten you deep, you're not burning Kason Evans on Tuesday, and you've got him available Wednesday against Arkansas, and you'd feel awesome about that. But that's not the hand you were dealt. The hand you were dealt was there was a delay and you had to find a way to win. And Jay Johnson, I'll say it again, made 100% the right call. You had to start 2-0 for this exact reason. Now you're in the catbird seat and Arkansas has got to come beat you twice after they had to come back and win an elimination game on Monday and another elimination game on Tuesday, which they did. And now they're going to have to win 2 more games and find a way to scratch that out. And Arkansas is a great team and plenty capable of it, but you'd much rather be in LSU spot, which is why Jay Johnson said to Kason Evans, you're getting the ball, go win us this baseball game. And ultimately he did. He gave you 4 1/3 of 2-run ball. He exited without allowing a run, but Cooper Williams inherited 2 runners from Evans, and he allowed both of them to score. But honestly, Evans was magnificent. But that goes to show you Jay Johnson's mindset. he was asked also, it was fascinating because Jay Johnson was asked also about handling the pitching, right? And he was also asked about the weather delay and how he kind of managed his way through that. But listen to what Jay Johnson had to say about how he plans on handling pitching now as you move forward through the remainder of this tournament, because now you've burned Evans, certainly for Wednesday, probably for Thursday as well. But what do you do from now? Jay's always close to the vest. It's not so much that he's going to give you the answer of what he's going to do. Just listen to how he explains how he handles the pitching staff.
Never to look too far down the road in this tournament. I think you can get yourself in trouble with that. I think if you win the first two with only maybe 3 guys unavailable for the next game, you've probably done a pretty good job, and that's probably where we're at. I need to look at it a little closer. Don't have a pitching plan yet for tomorrow because we don't know who we're playing yet, via Arkansas or UCLA. Both are capable of winning that ball game tonight. So we'll stay in tune with that and then adjust. And that's what this tournament is at times. Had delays here, night games that ended up being day games the next day. And I'm just really proud of the way the team handled all that.
100% right. He's 100% right. You don't plan too far ahead because there's elements you can't control. And this is not like going into a regular season weekend series where you're trying to win 2 out of 3. This is a tournament. So your whole strategy is going to change, and you're going to do whatever you have to do to win that game that day. When you get to the championship series, now you go back to the best 2 out of 3 format. Right now, it's how do you win today? Like this game right now in front of you, because every time you win a game, you're checking a box, you're taking one step closer to a championship. So whoever was best available was pitching, and that was Case and Evans. Now we know that LSU is going to face Arkansas. So who do you go to? You've got a lot of options, which we'll dive into. Certainly, they could go to Zach Cowan or Jaden Newt. Chase Shores could probably start for you if you wanted to. You might be able to throw Ianson for a piece on Wednesday against Arkansas in some capacity if you had the opportunity to stamp this thing out. But what we're learning here and what Jay Johnson is showing you is his approach to tournament ball is going to be different than his approach in a regular season series or a midweek or even the SEC tournament or anything like that. You're playing to win this tournament. And to win this tournament, you got to win today, the game today. So when LSU plays Arkansas Wednesday, Jay Johnson is trying to win this game Wednesday and not make sure there's not a Thursday game. Now, he was also asked about handling the weather delay.
As you get older in coaching, something I try to get better at is not worry about things that I cannot control. Whether it's NCAA rules or the weather. If I could have the power to push back a lightning and rainstorm, I probably wouldn't be a college baseball coach. But I want to set a good example for the team. You know what I mean? Like if I'm frustrated and, making it a thing, then they're going to make it a thing. And it's my job to lead and not make it a thing. And so that's what I chose to do. And you got some of the smartest people in the NCAA running this deal. And they thought we had a window now. And, hopefully the sun's out. Hopefully it stays out and we can get the tournament, back on track. But I told the players, we literally finished the game like 13 hours later than we would have. So it's only a big deal if we make it a big deal.
And Jay Johnson's choosing not to make it a big deal. And now LSU advances to play Arkansas again. The big deal is that you don't have Case and Evans for this game against Arkansas, which you likely would have had you not had the delay, but it's what it is. So now you have to figure out how to go through it. So you're going to play Arkansas. What do we know about Arkansas after their win against UCLA? We're going to break, and when we come back, we'll discuss that, the state of the Hogs after having to win their second game in as many days. That's next, Locked on LSU, your team every day. You ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it is easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track your accounts, investments, and spending all in one place. So you stop just managing your money and you start building wealth. They also offer all-in-one convenience. Instead of juggling multiple apps, you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending. You can even plan long-term goals, and managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. You can track shared and personal accounts. You can set goals. You can stay on the same page without the stress. So take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege, one word, LOCKEDONCollege, at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONCollege for half off your first year. So Dave Van Horn's team beats UCLA 7-3 in what was maybe the most predictable outcome of this tournament, after UCLA had to play and lose to LSU on Tuesday morning, head back to the hotel, get a few hours to get off their feet, then come back using many of the same pitchers again and face arguably the most talented team in the tournament. This was bound to go the way it did. There was a controversial play in the top of the first inning when UCLA appeared to score a run. A runner was out at the plate. It was a close call. Ultimately, they ruled him out. An opportunity for UCLA to strike early against Arkansas. It didn't happen. Vaheva Aloy hit a 2-run homer in the bottom of the second, and that was pretty much it. The Hogs would go on at a single run in the fifth on a Vaheva Aloy triple that had 2 in the seventh, 2 in the eighth. They led 7-0. UCLA made it interesting with a 3 spot in the bottom of the ninth, but ultimately Arkansas would win the game and advance. 7 runs on 10 hits and 3 errors. All 3 errors, by the way, were on the Arkansas catcher, Duggar. 3 throwing errors, and he also had a passed ball in the game. So an Arkansas team that came into this tournament fielding 984, which led the SEC this year and is truly an elite defensive number. Arkansas committing 3 errors on the game. Now, up until Tuesday night against UCLA, Arkansas through 2 games had scored 4 runs. They scored 1 against LSU and 3 against Murray State in the no-hitter thrown by Gage Wood. Well, a little bit of a breakout here for Arkansas, putting up the 7 spot. They did so on 10 hits, but it was mostly Aloy doing the damage with the 2-run homer and the RBI triple to put Arkansas up 3-0 before they would add a couple late. Still not an incredible offensive day. UCLA did commit an error, and you were talking about a massively depleted pitching staff, which did walk 5 Arkansas Razorbacks on the day. UCLA ended up using 7 after using 8 pitchers against LSU, 6 of them in the restart. They came back and ended up using 7 pitchers against Arkansas. So it was a very depleted UCLA staff. Now, the flip side of it is, against LSU, the Tigers are going to have a very deep staff. But what about Arkansas? So the Razorbacks, threw Zach Root. He threw, we know, Saturday against LSU, only threw 38 pitches, didn't make it out of the second inning. So with 2 days rest, Root comes back and he fires 5 innings of shutout ball for Arkansas. And he was able to hand the ball off to Jimenez. Now, Jimenez is one of Arkansas's best bullpen arms. And he entered in a 3-0 ball game. Jimenez did. So it was still a close game. So Dave Van Horn felt like he probably had to go to one of his best bullpen arms. And he did there with Jimenez, who threw 40 pitches. That I would say it means it's likely Jimenez would be unavailable against LSU. However, go back to what we talked about with Jay Johnson. Johnson's approach is throw your best guys now. I mean, your season is over if you lose not LSU's. Arkansas's season is over if they lose to LSU on Wednesday. So with that being the case, your mindset and approach completely changes. So normally, you wouldn't see Jimenez come back after throwing 40 pitches. You wouldn't see him back the next day. But it may be a situation where even if it's to pitch to one hitter where they feel like looking at their analytics, what Jimenez does gives them an advantage. They could go to him for a hitter. McIntyre also threw another one of their really good arms. Now, McIntyre ended up closing the game out for Arkansas, throwing the ninth inning, but he needed 33 pitches to get through the ninth inning. He allowed just 2 hits, but he walked a guy. There was an error in the ninth inning as well. And UCLA ended up pushing across 3 runs against McIntyre. So both Jimenez and McIntyre being used there is a pretty big advantage. So when you look to Wednesday and what Arkansas has going into Wednesday's game against LSU, it is very likely that Landon Beidelshees is going to start for Arkansas. Now, LSU saw Landon Beidelshees earlier this year in their 3-game series at the Box. He's the one that pitched the Sunday game on Mother's Day. He's an Ohio State transfer. He is a lefty, 6'3", 230 pounds, but doesn't throw particularly hard. He's kind of like someone you'd see in a midweek game, quite honestly. He's just not an overpowering arm. But the day against LSU, he got the start on that Mother's Day back on May the 11th, and he went just 2 innings. He was just an opener in that game. Went 2 innings. He allowed 3 runs on 4 hits. If you remember, LSU had 2 solo home runs at the start of that game and got up 2-0. Both of those homers came off of Beidelshees. So even though he's a lefty, and LSU, you look at the splits, has struggled against lefties, they handled Beidelshees in Baton Rouge, and this isn't a guy that's particularly overpowering. On the season, Beidelshees has thrown 56 2/3 innings. He's got 61 strikeouts and 19 walks. So a good arm, not an overpowering arm, and probably just an opener. But as we look through it, you've got Beidelshees. Gage Wood is going to be done. Not done for the tournament, but certainly done after throwing the no-hitter on Monday. He's not coming back on 1 day's rest to throw. Maybe it's a thing where if you want him to throw to a hitter in a situation where you're up against it and your season could end, maybe you bring him back for a hitter. But he's not going to give you any length there. And it would be just an emergency situation where you're trying to save your season. And so can you give me a batter? It could be that sort of thing with Wood. In the game against UCLA, Zach Root threw 87 pitches. Root would certainly not come back after throwing 87 pitches. Hard to imagine Dave Van Horn would bring him back the next day for anything, even a single hitter. So Wood would be gone. Root would be unavailable as well. And then you look at the relievers, Jimenez, McIntyre, limited, if available at all against LSU, maybe available for a short stint, a short outing. So you're checking off the best arms that they have. I know everyone's going to ask about Gabe Gackle, who threw 90 pitches against LSU, struck out 10, and was fantastic on Saturday. On 3 days rest, Gackle could certainly come back and give you something. But again, that would have to be a scenario where Arkansas, let's say Arkansas is leading 3-2 in the ninth. And you're like, Gabe, can you get me 3 outs here and stave off elimination? That's the kind of thing where you might go to Gackle in that situation. Gibbler, who threw against LSU on Saturday, didn't have to throw on Monday because of the no-hitter, didn't throw on Tuesday. He could certainly be available to come out of the bullpen as well. So there are options. There's certainly options that Arkansas has. That's kind of like LSU. When you have a really good pitching staff, a deep bullpen, dudes that throw 95 to 100, even when you check off Wood and Root and maybe Jimenez, McIntyre, who might be able to give you something, but limited. Gackle could give you something. Gibbler could be there to give you something as well. So again, the approaches in this game that Dave Van Horn and Jay Johnson are going to have are just going to be dramatically different, because Dave Van Horn is coaching for a season. Jay Johnson's coaching one game to advance, knowing he's got another game in his back pocket if he needs it. So, Christian Fouch is the freshman who throws 100 that came and pitched the 9th against LSU on Saturday. He's certainly available because he hasn't pitched since Saturday. So they got guys, they got options, they got arms, and Dave Van Horn's going to have to throw everything at LSU to make sure they stave off elimination and play another day. For LSU, it's going to flip because you don't have to win the game. You desperately want to win the game on Wednesday, but it doesn't have to be an all-in affair, and you can set yourself up potentially behind Cade Anderson on Thursday if you need to. So we'll knock out our final break, come back, talk about what LSU is likely looking at for Wednesday's game against Arkansas. It's Locked on LSU, your team every day. It is my pleasure to be able to tell you about our friends over at Our Lady of the Lake. And you know who takes care of LSU's top athletes. It's Our Lady of the Lake. That same level of care is available to you and me. You know, Our Lady of the Lake is part of the Franciscan Missionaries of Our Lady Health System, and they are the official championship health partner of LSU. Our Lady of the Lake is transforming healthcare from clinical excellence in sports medicine to student health to breakthrough research and medical education. At Our Lady of the Lake, we're taking game-changing care that keeps athletes at their best and builds a stronger, healthier Louisiana for all of us. Because this partnership isn't just about sports. And yes, Our Lady of the Lake is a massive supporter of LSU athletics and matters so much to the success of LSU athletics on the field and certainly with the medical care. But it's about caring for all of us. It's about creating opportunity and leading the next generation of healthcare talent right here at home. So whether you're on the field or you're in the stands or just doing life, know that championship level healthcare is right here for you. You can learn more at ololrmc.com/LSU. That's OLOLRMC, Our Lady of the Lake Regional Medical Center, OLOLRMC.com/LSU. Our Lady of the Lake and LSU. Together, we roar. So the biggest question everyone's going to have is who's going to start for LSU. And I understand the question. And I believe you've got probably 3 real legitimate options. One would be Zach Cowan, who started the regional final against Little Rock, and it didn't go great. You've got Jaden Newt, who started the Sunday game, which could have been a closeout game for LSU in the regional, and that didn't go great. Both those guys had issues with walks. But those are your 2 top guys that are healthy, that are rested, that are available going into this game. The other 2 options, which I think are a little bit of a longer shot, would be Chase Shores, who threw 10 pitches on Tuesday to get the final out of the 8th and 3 ground balls in the 9th. That was after he threw 13 pitches on Saturday. So you're talking about in 2 outings for Chase Shores, he's thrown just over 20 pitches. So Chase Shores could certainly be available to you as a starter that could maybe give you some length. But the question is, do you want to burn Chase Shores in an extended outing in this game, or potentially have him available to finish this game if you get to that situation, because you're not going to have Case and Evans now at the back of your bullpen? So you'd almost prefer to say, let's get to Chase Shores at the end of the game. Think of it the same, reframe it the same way we talked about Case and Evans, right? When Evans was pitching well and LSU was struggling to find a number 3, a lot of people said, make Evans a starter. And what happened? For the bulk of the season, you had 2 guys in the bullpen you could count on, Evans and Cowan. And when you moved Evans out of the bullpen to be a starter, you didn't have your guy at the back of the bullpen any longer who was there. So it's a chicken or the egg question. Do you need the starter to get to the reliever, or do you need the reliever to finish the game? Because what does it matter if the starter gets you there if you don't have anybody that can finish it? For LSU, Evans has been able to affect the game more ways in relief because he's been able to affect more games. I think Shores is in a similar situation here. Can you piece together the game with Newt and maybe Cowan, maybe Shores in a relief outing, Jacob Myers, who we haven't seen yet, Maverick Rizzi, Connor Ware, DJ Primo, William Schmidt. And I get those are your up 10, down 10 guys. But can you piece it together to get to a chance for Shores? And that's going to rely on your offense to really get going in this game. I don't know what Jay Johnson's going to do. Considering Cowan didn't have a great outing the last time out, my thought is he would go to Newt. But Cowan is certainly the more veteran pitcher, and it would make a lot of sense if he started with Cowan and then had the parade of relievers after that. The wild card here is Anthony Ianson. Ianson threw just over 40 pitches on Monday, having a day of rest. You could certainly use him. I don't think he starts, and you're not going to see a long outing. But what I could submit is, what if you started Shores, you had the parade of relievers after, and Anthony Ianson is waiting at the end of the game to finish it for you? That could be a possibility. Maybe he gives you an inning to get the final 3-5 outs, whatever it may be. And if it doesn't go great, you've got Cade Anderson queued up on Thursday to try to pitch you into the championship series, very likely against Gabe Gackle from Arkansas, if it comes down to it. Be very similar to the Skeens-Louder matchup we saw back in 2023. We'll know in just a few short hours if the Tigers punch their ticket to the championship series. Okay, that's going to do it for us. Today's episode of Locked On LSU. Thanks so much for making us your first listen. Now, for your second listen, you can check out The Portal Show on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. If you are on podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Rate us, leave a review. If you're on YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified whenever we post a new video. And let a friend know that if they love the Tigers, we got you right here for Locked On LSU. It's your team every day.